Hi, I'm Bella Perez Rubio, Puma Podcast, and you're listening to Teka Teka News. Balitang thinking, hindi breaking. In this episode,
Today, facts win. Truth wins. Justice wins. Medyo emotional nga lang po. These charges, as you know, were politically motivated. They were incredible to us. A brazen abuse of power and meant to stop journalists from doing their jobs. But these cases are where capital markets, where rule of law, where press freedom meet. Right? So this acquittal, kahit na medyo matagal po, is not just for Rappler. It is for every Filipino who has ever been unjustly accused.
in their first real legal victory, Maria Ressa and Rappler Holdings Corporation were cleared of 4 counts of tax evasion on January 18. We take a look at the role that the new administration might have played and the interest it may have in this rare win for Ressa.
I had a really good feeling about today, not only because there wasn't one shred of evidence to support these charges, not one, but also because of the way the Court of Tax Appeals conducted the hearings. So I had a good feeling coming in today. But of course, it's been so long that we've lived in the upside down that I was also prepared for a conviction. And we would have kept fighting. But my God, what a release.
That's Maria, speaking to the media outside the Court of Tax Appeals, just moments after her acquittal. Had she lost, she would have faced up to 34 years in prison. But her optimism was rewarded instead.
I know the CTA. I handled cases before in the CTA, and I know the justices in the CTA are less prone to political influence because taxation is very technical. Taxation is very legalistic because everything, the rules and the procedures and everything is really found in the tax code and other regulations. So there's no very, very little room for interpretations.
That's constitutional lawyer and political analyst Michael Yusinko, confirming Maria's view of the CTA. But can this win be chalked up to just a technical one? Or is there more at play? Here's Maria again, speaking on Wagpo, a 1PH program.
It's hard to tell, pero alam niyo naman kung minsan, di ba, the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. But that was one of the signals that I felt was hopeful for me before going into this morning. I felt like with President Marcos in Switzerland trying to raise foreign direct investments in the Philippines, that the Court of Tax Appeals would not do something that would convict us.
Her acquittal came shortly after President Marcos told foreign media in Davos, Switzerland, that he did not believe Maria was headed for prison. He was there to participate in the World Economic Forum and, more importantly, sell the Philippines as an investment destination. And Maria herself acknowledges that imprisoning a Nobel Peace Prize winner, after all, would not have made for pleasant headlines.
And it only shows you how politically motivated the charge is, right? So I think President Marcos cares about what the international community thinks, whether it will invest in the Philippines. And that's actually really important because growth will be the driver. We're just coming out of the pandemic. We need investments. We need growth in the Philippines.
President Marcos was in Davos to, among other things, soft launch his widely criticized Maharlika Investment Fund, his proposed sovereign wealth fund.
This one was critical because it combined business at a time when the president is in Davos, Switzerland, trying to actually bring foreign direct investment in, but rule of law, that's connected to business as well, and press freedom.
We'll pause here, but when we return, what did President Marcos know about the coming decision, and what's in it for his administration?
This is the very first legal case that Rappler has won ever, since these cases were filed against us.
Under the Duterte years, the intimidation tactics began on social media in 2016, very, very early. And then President Duterte addressed us in his State of the Nation address in 2017. And then a week later, we got our first subpoena. We have lost every single appeal, every single one except this one.
As Maria herself says, it still could have gone the other way. So why was President Marcos confident enough to tell reporters in Switzerland that Maria was unlikely to be jailed? Officials traveling with the president told the Financial Times that Marcos simply had quote-unquote an intuition about this case. They also said that Marcos wanted to see these cases resolved quickly. Did the president actually know what was coming?
It's unusual in the sense that no matter who the president is, they shouldn't have any role at all in a judicial proceeding. So the fact that he could comment that way tells me that either he's trying to get involved or some people in his camp are trying to get involved because he has an insight, right? The president, I would say, shouldn't have any insight at all with regards to judicial proceedings. No? CTA is a judicial proceeding.
Again, that's Michael Yusinko, a constitutional lawyer and political analyst.
When we see the president behaving that way or making statements as if, he has insider info in the prosecution service or in the revenue service prosecuting, tax evasion cases, then it's not far-fetched to think that some of the people in his camp may also be trying to influence or intervene in the cases that involve him. Again, that is something that we should object to. Well, not just because he is interfering in the cases that involve him and his family, but the principle of separation of powers mandates that the executive branch be independent of the judicial branch.
Maria Ressa was also asked on One News if she thought the president played a role in her acquittal. She acknowledged that Philippine courts and politics are notoriously intertwined. But she also said that executive influence need not necessarily mean direct interference. It could simply mean encouraging and reassuring judges to do their jobs, but without losing sight of what that might mean for the Marcos government's image.
I think what we've seen is the lifting of fear allowed justices and judges, with or without, they made their decisions, right? I think that's the first. The second one is that it seems like this administration cares about the international community. That's important because economies are just opening up, and President Marcos is in Davos, Switzerland, as we speak right now, right? He's also made the rounds of journalists there. So these are all connected, but no one can really tell unless we are in the rooms with the horse trading that could happen. But this is a good first step forward, letting the justice system move. But let me put it this way. The bar was so low that anything is better.
In any case, Maria believes the implications extend beyond her case.
I hope that this means good news for people like Leila De Lima, like journalist Frenchie May Cumpio, who is beginning her 4th year in prison in February. And of course, Leila has been there for 6 years. She begins her 7th year this February. There's a lot of injustice. There's a lot of unjustified political cases that have been filed. So I hope to see an end to those and to see stronger institutions standing up to political pressure.
Maria and Rappler still face more legal hurdles, including another tax case, a closure order from the Securities and Exchange Commission, and a cyber libel conviction that they're currently appealing.
I never thought I would ever be arrested. I thought the charges were flimsy and should never have made it to court, but I respect rule of law. And that's the reason I submitted myself. Our company submitted itself to the courts. And I've been disappointed in the past, but we continue, right? We will take it all the way to the Court of Last Appeal, which is where the cyber libel is now. I have to believe in rule of law.
And that was today's episode of Teka Teka News. Again, I'm Bella Perez Rubio. This episode was produced by Kat Ventura and edited by Carl Dave Sayat. If you like this episode, share it with a friend or two. And don't forget to follow Teka Teka News and Puma Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. At para sa mga mahilig manood sa YouTube, Puma Podcast na rin po kami doon. Just search Puma Podcast and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for listening.